G'day traders, welcome to wrap up of Friday, November 4th. So started the day with an upside bias. The market's in an uptrend, had a couple of good green days. Even though the market, you can see here, so it's bounced between power points to start off with, trying to decide what it wants to do. But the pre-market was down, so I guess in the short term, it wanted to continue with that trend and head down, even though there is an upside bias, or even though there's buyers around on the daily. So it's heading down now, but you definitely got to be thinking at some stage the buyer's going to come in strong. But as far as the sellers are concerned, there's a pullback here. There was a power point just being missed there. So I guess that was if you really thought the sellers were around, an opportunity to get on the sell side, and then it just continued to push down through power points. Pretty tough to get on any of these sells, considering that the dailies is on the upside. Okay, so after the market's pushed down, it started to show some indicators that the buyer's around, so it's pushed through this purple, and then bounced up here and pulled back to this green. So this green here, I mean, normally not a bad area to buy, especially if you believe the buyers are going to start to come in soon. But when you look over on the 5-minute chart, this is why it's worth watching the 5-minute chart. The 5-minute chart was just switching over, and the predictive was crossing down quite heavily. So it's fairly evident that maybe the sellers would push through this, which they did. But then that's what they did. But then the buyers did eventually come back, and then from there the market's just grinded up this area here. There was very few contracts going through the market. It was fairly slow paced. We've actually come into lunch here as well, so it's slowly grinding up. It's pulled back here. There was actually a 5-minute fade which lined up really well with this power point as well, which normally would be not a bad area, considering that definitely that the buyers are going to come in at some stage. But just because of the way the market had grinded up slowly, I thought there was a chance that the market was going to sell. It was just going to sell. Definitely a few sellers come in for a chance there before it took off again. So I thought something to tell me to leave that one alone, which it did. It pushed through that power point and would have stopped out the 5-minute trade there. From there, the buyers came back again. Just around here, there was I guess you'd call it an unofficial 5-minute trade. The predictor was switching it to the upside. The moving average 20 was pointing up, even though it wasn't above the blue moving average, which I'll show you on the 5-minute chart soon. So it wasn't an official signal, but this particular area here, when looking at the 5-minute charts, all the indications were showing that the buyers are around. So I guess this particular fade here was definitely a good one to look at. And that's what started the buyers, and from there they pushed up. So they did go sideways for a bit, but then they had another rally and pushed higher, and eventually pushed up to that yellow power point. From there the market went a little bit sideways again, had a bit of a sell-off. I guess as it's approaching the end of the week, people are starting to get rid of their positions. There was also a fairly major news announcement coming after the market closed, so over the weekend, so I guess everyone was a little bit hesitant to do anything based on that fairly major announcement about Greece was coming out. So from there on in for the rest of the afternoon, not a lot happened. So we've just got the 5-minute chart here. So this one here was that fade signal. So you can see, technically it's a sell, but because this moving average is clearly pointing up, it's one you'd more want to buy rather than sell. But just like we said before, the market was just grinding up. So I thought when the sellers did come, they were going to stick around for a little bit and maybe push the market down, but then reload and go again, which is what they did. So it just broke through and stopped out that one. But then this is the one I talked about here. I thought this was a really good opportunity here. You can see the predictive crossing up, which is what you want to see. This moving average line, even though it's below that blue line, so it's not officially a signal, but it's pointing up, and that's more important, that it's pointing in the right direction as opposed to where it's located, whether it's above or below that line. At the end of the day, that doesn't really matter. You want it pointing up and indicating that you're going with the trend. So I thought this particular area here, especially at the end of this candle here, was a fantastic place to go with the market, or buy with the market, and there was actually a power fade entry up around here as well. So an opportunity there to take 6-8 points out of the market. But that's why it's worthwhile, I guess, keeping a very close eye on the 5-minute chart, because it's very good at telling when the buyers or sellers are going to start to come into the market. Anyway, so that's a wrap up for the week.